a lot of books. Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing a book haul, which I'm very excited about because I have a lot of books right here. I usually don't get enough books at one time to have like a haul of some sort, but that is not the case right now because my local library, I sound like a huge nerd when I say that, but I love my local library and I go there all the time. And at the library they also have like a little used bookstore there that's like associated with the library. They always have really cheap used books and it's really great. And the other day, or this past weekend, they had a sale going on, a 2-day sale. Listen to this, listen to me. They had $1 hardback books and 10 cents a piece for a paperback book. $1 hardbacks, 10 paperback books for $1. Oh my god, oh my gosh. So, your girl went a little crazy and we got a lot of books. I don't treat myself very often, so I said, okay, Adele, you can go. I was planning on going there. I wanted to stop by. A regular at my work, she always comes in. She's the sweetest old lady. She's one of the like kind of like the coordinator person for one of those things. And she was telling us all about it. And I was like, you know what, Sharon, I'm gonna be there. I will be there. You will see me there. I went right after work. And I brought food from work. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna eat it in the car on my way home. And I was like, oh, I'm just gonna stop into the sale, see what they have, left my food in the car. An hour and a half later, I got back in my car with my bags of books and my food was cold. So, I did buy a lot of, I bought a lot of books. I spent $23, I think it was like $23.20 or something, like 20 cents, because I got like 2 extra paperbacks on the side or whatever. Basically, I spent $23 on all of these books. I have no idea how many books there are. They're in these bags and I'm gonna unbox them here in front of you and we're gonna see how many books I have. We're gonna see what they are. I'm gonna talk about them and why I got it. I will have a disclaimer and say that since this was a used book sale, a lot of these aren't gonna be like new releases. Also, I don't really keep up with all the new book world stuff because I don't know. I don't know. So there's a lot of older books in here and books that y'all have probably heard of, but I don't care. If I haven't read it, it's a new book to me. So these aren't going to be some popular new releases or whatever. This is just a book haul of new books that I can't wait to read. So let's get into it. Also, since I was kind of like splurging, since it was a crazy sale, let me repeat, 10 cents a paperback. Since it was a crazy sale, I was like, even if I haven't heard of this book, if it sounds interesting, I'm gonna get it. So a lot of these books, I just like read the back cover, the inside cover, and I was like, it sounds cool, so I'm gonna do it. Especially since I'm a huge researcher and I like to research everything before I make a decision. So this time I was like, if it sounds cool, I'm getting it. So, first up, Frankenstein, because I've never read it, and I really want to, because I know it's like one of those classics, so I want to read it. Next, it doesn't actually have a cover. The Best Loved Poems of the American People. I love poetry. I have my favorite poet right here, Carl Sandburg, and his poems also were like in the American context right here. I like the older nitty American poems, I guess, but I was excited about it because it's old and it has a lot of poems and I like poems, so I got it. Next, Bluebeard's Egg by Margaret Atwood. Margaret Atwood is one of my favorite writers and I saw it and I was like, I'm gonna get it because I love Margaret Atwood. I know nothing about this book, but we're gonna read it. Next up is Heaven is for Real, because I know that they made it a movie, right? Right? Well, it was super popular a while back, and I never read it, and I want to read it. That's gonna be my justification for, a lot of these books. Next up is a book called Freedom by Jonathan Franzen. Never heard of it, but the cover caught my eye because it looked cool. I don't know what it's about. I really like the cover though. It looks super cool. Next is Schoolgirls by Peggy Orenstein. Young women's self-esteem and a confidence gap. And I don't know what it's about. There's a receipt in here. From 2000? February 4th, 2000. You don't even need to know what it's about. This is a good sign. I like that. I don't know what it's about. I need to stop saying that. I keep saying the same thing. It just sounded cool. It sounded like my style, so I got it. Next, Eat, Pray, Love. Never seen it, never read it, and so I found Eat, Pray, Love, and I was like, it's a sign. I gotta get it. Next up is Airframe by Michael Crichton? I don't know. But again, cover looked really cool, and it sounded vaguely familiar. The cover, like the look of it, and also the name, it sounded familiar. All right, that's it for the first bag. Next, Julie and Julia. This is a movie. I have seen it. Well, I haven't seen it. I've seen like the thumbnail of it on Netflix, and I've never watched it. I don't even really know what it's about. I just read the cover, and it's about cooking or something. Like, it's obviously like it's a story, has to do with cooking. I've never seen it or read it. Next up is The Divine Secrets of the Ya-Ya Sisterhood by Rebecca Wells, and I think this was in the True Stories section. So I don't know what it's about, and I was gonna look up what the Ya-Ya Sisterhood is. I forgot to, but it says a very entertaining and ultimately deeply moving novel about the complex bonds between a mother and a daughter. And look at them, they're having so much fun. And I thought, I don't know, it looked kind of cool. Next up is Push. This was also in the True Stories section. I love true stories. I'm such a sucker for biographies, autobiographies, true stories, anything like that. Which leads me to my next one, which is one of my favorite movies, Hidden Figures. If y'all did not see it, I highly recommend it. But I saw this and I instantly was like, I'm taking this, I am buying this 100% because this movie captured my heart. I love it so much. And I am so excited. I can't wait to read all about these fantastic ladies. Next up, this one is fiction, not true story. The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. Again, cover looked pretty cool. It also caught my eye because, like I said, a lot of the books were slightly older, and it looks newer, you know what I mean? It looks more like a modern sort of fiction book. Also, the raindrops on this are textured, and if it's anything that I can touch and interact with in any way, I like it. Next up is The Art of Racing in the Rain by Garth Stein. I have seen this book on the aisles of the Target book section for years, and I wanted to read it, and I just never got it. And again, I don't actually know what it's about, but I really liked the way it looked. So, but I know it's really popular. Did they make a movie about this? I feel like I've seen this somewhat in the mainstream, but I don't remember how. Next up, this was in the biography, autobiography section. It is called Infidel by Ayan Hirsi Ali. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But just from the back flap, it's like a coming of age of her life as a Muslim girl. I really like stories like this, so I'm very excited about that. I also love very powerful women, so I'm excited. Next up, this was also in the True Stories section, and it was The Innocent Man by John Grisham. Murder and Injustice in a Small Town. It says it's a Netflix series. I don't know if it's called the same thing or something else, but it's a true crime story. Love that, love those. So yeah. Okay, that's the last one of that bag. We have 4 bags in total. They had to have someone help me carry these bags to my car. Okay, I think we're getting into a lot of these that were the paperbacks. So they had like all the hardbacks and normal books. Okay, so it was hardbacks, but also kind of just like normal books like this. Even though it's like a paperback, this was still considered a hardback. They had, let me find an example. You know those really short, small books that are like seem really old and you'll find them in like a hotel drawer or something? Those were the paperbacks. That's what I mean by a lot of them were old, and a lot of them were like Nora Roberts romance, or like Tom Clancy, or like the old sort of detective books. So with a lot of those, I don't really read those at all. I don't really read a lot of these older sort of paperbacks. So with a lot of these, it was simply by reading the back cover and seeing if it sounded interesting or not. Also, if you've been kind of watching my writing vlogs, I have recently been really into like wanting to write a thriller, and I've never really read a lot of thrillers, and I don't know much about the genre, so I did want to find some thrillers, again, even if I have no idea what they were. I've never heard of them. So we're gonna go through these. I have no prior knowledge on most of these. So this one, Nobody Lives Forever by Edna Buchanan, and I like the colors. 1990. Next is Private Screening by Richard North Patterson, and by the way it looks and also the name Private Screening, I thought it was going to just be like a romance story, but the nation is stunned silent when presidential hopeful James Kilcannon is shot dead point blank while sharing the stage at a benefit concert with his rock star girlfriend Stacey Tarrant. Fiercely independent attorney Tony Lord defends the assassin in a sensational trial that erupts into the media event of the decade, but the most shocking game ever witnessed in the history of television has yet to unfold. I don't know. Again, want to find some thrillers. It sounded pretty cool. Let's see when this one was published. 1985. Oh boy. And you can tell because like the pages are yellow. It smells like your grandma's house. Next up, we've got Dean Koontz. This one is Icebound, and I didn't know much about it, but it sounded pretty cool. I'm pretty sure this one had a synopsis. 1976, oh my gosh. Okay, do none of these have like a synopsis anywhere? I thought it did. Why did I get this? Oh, I remember. So it doesn't have a synopsis, but all the chapter titles start with like noon, or like there was some 12:45, and I thought it was kind of cool because it's different, and I like times. That sounds weird. I thought it was cool, you know? Ice, glaciers. Next up is The Notebook. I almost said by Nicolas Cage. By Nicholas Sparks. Y'all want to know something funny? So obviously Nicholas Sparks, very famous author, has a lot of things in movies, and so whenever, I always knew there were romance stories in movies, and so I always just assumed that for some reason the name Nicholas Sparks, I thought it was a girl, but then I like sat there, I was like, Nicholas, that's a boy's name. So I realized very late in my life that Nicholas Sparks is a man. I've never actually watched the movie. I know, it's so popular, it's everywhere, but I don't know, I just never have. So I thought it'd be pretty cool to try it out. Next up, Nora Roberts. This one is Engaging the Enemy, and this is actually a set of two different books. It's separated into two books. A Will and a Way and Boundary Lines. It wasn't easy living with her infuriating co-beneficiary Michael Donahue, even to fulfill her uncle's last wishes, but headstrong Pandora McVie found it still harder not falling in love with her nemesis. I had to, okay? I had to. I love romance, okay? I like fan fiction. It's basically the same thing. If it's got the angst and fluff and smut, I'm fine. Next up is She's Come Undone by Wally Lamb. Look at the cover, very cool, that's what caught my eye. I love coming of age, and I like that this is like a 13-year-old girl. I like reading about like the point of view of children, but in an adult novel, if that makes sense. And I just love coming of age and like seeing that and how that plays out. Next we have A Maiden's Grave by Jeffrey Deaver. It is a thriller, sort of crime detective thing. I'm not the biggest fan of the cliche crime detective thriller books where it's like meet blah 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 detective in the FBI who also is in love with the enemy's daughter, a beautiful woman who he can't help but falling in love with. Like, I don't know. But it sounded kind of cool. 8 deaf girls and their teachers are pulled off a school bus along a windswept Kansas road. They are held hostage in an abandoned slaughterhouse by escaped murderer Lou Handy and 2 fellow inmates who threaten to kill one hostage an hour unless their demands are met. And then there's another paragraph, and that's where we meet Arthur Potter, the FBI senior hostage negotiator. So, cool premise. We're going to see how it goes, and hope it's something I will like. Next up is The Last Mile by David Baldacci. It sounded familiar. I don't know if it's the name of it sounded vaguely familiar to me. Convicted murderer Melvin Mars is counting down the last hours before his execution for the violent killing of his parents 20 years earlier. When he's granted an unexpected reprieve, another man has confessed to the crime. Amos Decker, newly hired on an FBI special task force. May not be my cup of tea, but that's alright, because it was 10 cents. Next up is Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. Everyone knows a couple like Jack and Grace. He has looks and wealth, she has charm and elegance. He's a lawyer who has never lost a case. She's a flawless homemaker, gardener, and cook, who also dotes on her disabled younger sister. Though they are still newlyweds, they seem to have it all. You might not want to like them, but you do. Some might call it true love. Others might wonder why Grace never answers the phone, or why she can never meet for coffee, even though she doesn't have a job. How she can cook such elaborate meals but remain so thin. Slim, or why she never seems to take anything with her when she leaves the house, not even a pen, or there's high security metal shutters on the downstairs windows, and it sounds like a cool concept. It got me, it hooked me in, you know? So, next up, The Da Vinci Code, Dan Brown. Never read it. I did see the movie Once Upon a Time. This one has Nicolas Cage, right? This is the second Nicolas Cage reference in this video. It is Nicolas Cage, right? Because the Declaration of Independence. Am I thinking of the right movie? I'm thinking of National Treasure. Wait, is that? Wait, I thought that was an animated movie. No, I'm thinking of Treasure Planet. Wait, hold on. What is this? Is this the movie I'm thinking of? Oh god. I have to look it up. This is gonna drive me crazy. Oh my gosh. I totally don't know what I'm talking about. Shh. This is a movie. I have not seen it. I'm thinking of National Treasure with Nicolas Cage. This is similar concepts, right? You can't really follow me for that one. Next up, Adrenaline by Jeff Abbott. And it says a thriller. So I was like, oh, perfect. I'm looking for one of those. And of course it has to do with a brilliant young CIA agent stationed in London. He has a beautiful wife who's pregnant with their first child. We're gonna see how it goes. It's just, those aren't always my cup of tea. Next up, Jack and Jill by James Patterson. I know James Patterson is a very famous author in that sort of genre, so even though it says someone has killed one of the most powerful men in the US Senate and the whole world is watching, and it has to do with homicide cop Alex Cross, we're gonna give it a chance. Okay, third bag down. This video is already over 30 minutes long. Okay, these are all the hardbacks, which are the ones that basically aren't those little paperbacks. So we have Last Days of Summer by Steve Kluger, and the back really got me in because I don't know if you can tell, but it's like a letter basically. They're like letters to and from, I guess, these characters. And so on the front cover it's got like a little excerpt, and it says, April 9th, 1940. I've decided to turn to a life of crime. My dad was supposed to take me to Coney Island, but he never called back, and my left eye is black and blue again, and Hitler is beginning to scare the holy heck out of me, ... I was like, I love it. Next, we have Modern Lovers by Emma Straub, and I love the colors. It looks very pretty. It's about former college friends who are old now, and they have kids, and it's sort of just slice of life, and I'm excited. Next up, oh, I'm so excited for this one. Okay, so when I did the beta reader application, this was a month ago now maybe, one of the questions on there was to list your 3 favorite books. And I got so many book recommendations from y'all just because there were so many books on there that I had never read or heard of. And one of the books on there, I would actually go through, okay, I'm serious, I would actually go through all the books y'all listed and like look up the ones that sounded really cool. I kind of kept like a running list of books that I wanted to check out that y'all had suggested, and one of them that I really wanted was The Devil in the White City by Erik Larson. I don't remember who suggested this. You know what? I'm gonna look it up. You deserve a shout out. Katie Fisher. Thank you, Katie Fisher, for the suggestion. Yes, The Devil in the White City by Erik Larson. It's about Chicago in 1893, the 1893 World's Fair, and it's about the serial killer that was there at the fair and that whole situation, and I'm really excited about it. I couldn't actually believe I saw it there. It was in the true story section, and I was like, I saw it. I was like, I remember that. I remember really wanting to read that. Next, this was also in the true stories. This is called What is the What by Dave Egris? The story of Valentino Achak Deng, a refugee of the Sudanese Civil War. Fleeing from his village in the mid-1980s, Deng becomes one of the so-called lost boys, children pursued by militias, government soldiers, lions, and hyenas, and myriad diseases in their search for sanctuary, first in Ethiopia and then Kenya. So it's that story, and I'm excited. I love true stories. I love people, and I think it'll be really cool. Next up, this is Despero. They did make a movie about this when I was a child. This was years ago. I don't know if y'all remember. I think the Tale of Despero is what they called it. This is in Spanish. I do speak Spanish, for those of you who didn't know, but I've never actually read like a novel-length book in Spanish. I've only read like short stories, poems, like the classics in Spanish, and so this one is in Spanish, and I'm excited to read a whole novel in Spanish. Also, I really like this author, Kate DeCameo, I think is how you say her name. I remember reading a book by her when I was very young. I think it was called Tiger Rising. It has something to do with the tiger. Did she also write the Winn-Dixie book? I don't know. I don't remember. But I really like that tiger book. And then, the very last book that I have is The Woman Who Fell from the Sky by Jennifer Steele. This was also in the biography section. And it is, she's a journalist who basically went to Yemen in 2006, and it's one of those stories about like the Middle East and the conflict and her experience with it. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I don't know what this is. This a pomegranate? I don't know. I like the colors. It looks very fun. So that is my book haul. Very excited about it. Got a lot of books, and I'm so excited to start reading them. I honestly don't know what I should start with. Comment down below what I should start with, and also if you've read any of these books, what your favorites are, anything like that. Give me some more suggestions. Honestly, there's no room on my little bookshelf to fit them on. Good thing I have the rest of my books upstairs, but I'm gonna have to put all these away. Well, that is all I have for you today. I wish I had more books to show you, but this is all I've got. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe and comment and like if you would like to. But yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see y'all in the next one.